Hey everyone, Catch 'em All Collectibles here. In today's video, I'm following up on a video I made a couple months ago. I will link it right here. How to find gradable plays basically in Pokemon using the tool of Graded Edge. I will also lean on heavily and talk about a video I made about a year ago now, maybe over a year ago now. It was how to make $100,000 in Pokemon. No, that was not clickbait. That was actual, there was math involved in that video. Buying raw, grading, selling, making $100,000 a year. So yeah, I will follow up on those videos. That will also be linked above. Let's get right into it. So 3 months ago, I spent 30-ish thousand dollars. I ended up losing track, not keeping as close of track as I desired to originally. But this website is called gradededge.com. It will be linked below. Currently, it is exclusive to the Pokenomics Patreon, also linked below. $10 a month, you get access to Graded Edge. You get access to an entire backlog of Zoom videos. Monthly, Jake and I do, sometimes with a guest. We do weekly office hours in Discord. Our entire content backlog that we've done in our last 3 years of the Pokenomics Patreon. But anyways, let's get down into it. What does this website do? How does it identify what the graded flip plays are? Check out that video I linked before for how the site works mechanically overall. I will presume that you've watched that one already. But overall, I mean, look at it. You pick a random card, or it picks for you a card sorted by profitability. Quick overview. PSA 10. This is the percentage at which it's gotten a PSA 10. This is the value of the PSA 10. This is how much you would profit selling a PSA 10 with this shipping, this sales fee, this raw card price, this grading fee, and then 9, and then you do a sum product basically of what percent and what net profit, and then it works out to the total profit. So that's a very quick overview of how it works. Let's look at actual cards. I am going to spill the beans on some cards I've spilled the beans on before. The one that we will talk about is the Celebration Charizard, naturally, but I'll give you 3 more. I'll give you 3 more for free. If you want the rest, Pokenomics Patreon is where it's at. So yeah, Entei, Raikou, Suicune. The 3 full art Vs from the Galarian Gallery of Crown Zenith. Beautiful cards. Legendary beasts. The Graded Edge website got a major graphical overhaul since I did my last video. It's I'm not a huge like design guy, but it is a lot more visually appealing. I think the function is great. It was great. It still is great, but it looks a little bit easier on the eyes. Could there still be improvements? Probably, but yeah, it's definitely a lot better looking. So what you see is the same thing I showed on the home page. Here are 2 affiliate links. Great thing about affiliate links, you don't pay anymore. If you're browsing and if you're looking at the top plays, I'm not going to click in this tab. I can't spill all the beans, but there is one tab that shows you the top plays. It sorts by profitability. You can filter by the biggest loss for a 9 price. You can filter by, I only want to buy cards that have an 80% 10 rate. I only want to buy cards that are sub $20. You can filter by anything and everything. And say you find something you don't like, say you find something you don't know how to do, there should be an added feature. There's a Discord for Graded Edge right here linked. It's actually just slightly off the screen for you. To the right of top plays over here, it is linked, and Will is very good at taking feedback. He's very good at making adjustments on the fly as people request them. But affiliate links are great. You support the site. Right now, it is locked behind the Pokenomics Patreon. It is fully run off of affiliate revenue. How it will be in the future, I'm not entirely sure. I don't know if Will has fully decided that, but as of right now, affiliate links are a huge benefit to supporting the continuation of the service. And here's all the plots. Here's all the active listings on eBay with affiliate links if you want to go buy them. Let me scroll to the right a little bit here in my OBS. There are liquidity liquidity tracking. How many PSA 10s have sold in the past week? How many raw have sold in the past week? How many have sold in the past 90 days? Very interesting and useful metrics if you are trying to make a play on one of these cards. But yeah, let's look at it and what I did. So here's actual data. I'm giving a lot here. I'm not giving everything. I spent about $30,000 in the past. Sorry, 2-3 months ago. I spent about $30,000, and I kind of like froze my purchasing for the time being. A lot of cards, some cards that I'm not going to detail here. I guess I'll throw you a bone and I'll throw you a couple more ones that I targeted. 151 Charizard, Bubble Mew. And you might say, Dan, these cards are obvious. Why do I need a website to tell me what's profitable, what's not? A lot of obvious ones will be obvious. You can manually do the math and you can quickly verify what it is. Or you can spend $10 a month and you can just have all that handed to you on a silver platter every morning live updated. You don't have to manually go in and enter prices, as I showed you in that video that I linked earlier, making $100,000 a year in Pokemon. That one used this very manual spreadsheet that I generated and I used to use in the past. But now I save a lot of time every time I'm looking for plays. Graded Edge saves me 10-15 minutes every time I do that. It saved me many hours. I don't know how you value your time, but me, if you save me 1 hour a month, you're worth significantly more than $10. So however they monetize it in the future, however Will decides to do it, I will likely always have a subscription to Graded Edge, and I will always be clicking those affiliate links to try to show my support. But anyways, continuing on. Now that we've identified, so we went and looked at the top plays, we've filtered, we've determined, and by no means are these the most profitable cards. I'm just showing you 3 cards that I've graded a lot over the years, and I'm going to give you the actual data. So when you're browsing, this is all the data that Graded Edge gives you. This is the data that is pulled straight from PSA's pop report. Big disclaimer that I've given in all the previous videos. If you blindly buy 100 Suicune Vs on TCG Player, you will not get 63% 10s if you send all of them. I'm quite confident in that. And to show you part of my confidence and to verify with actual information, I'm going to spill some beans. So I bought 100. So of this trio, I merged the trio together just for simplicity's sake. I bought 100 of this trio. And back on my earlier video, making 100,000 a year in Pokemon, I bought 100 Celebrations Charizard. We will talk about Celebrations Charizard briefly in this video. But I bought 100. So I bought approximately 33 Suicunes, approximately 33 Raikus, approximately 33 Entei's. And I graded 85 of them. Next week's video, teaser for next week's video, I'm going to show you how I pre-grade cards and what cards I determined to send and what cards I determined to not send. I think so many people send black labels to PSA. One quick little cheeky Instagram post that I made today. PSA hands out participation trophies. PSA grades a 10 rate of 63% on these cards. And some people pre-grade very hard, to be fair. Some people pre-grade very hard. They might buy 100 on TCG Player and only send 20 and get like a 95% 10 rate. You can do the math, crunch the numbers. It is profitable to send more than most people are sending. Maybe I honestly go a little bit into the too far trend. Maybe I grade too many. I graded 85 out of 100. And I will show you the exact data, the breakdown of how those graded. And I will show you the exact math on how it worked out and how much I made per card on average. But little thing this shows too. So at this time, Graded Edge only works for PSA. CGC and BGS are intended to be added in the future. I think it's a big lift for lesser used grading card companies. But this cheeky Instagram post I made Sunday night, the night that I'm recording this, there's more money to be made. It is significantly harder to get. So it's not a participation trophy over at CGC. It's 8.9%. I will link that video too, where I talked about CGC, PSA grading too easy and all that. But CGC will only grade 9%. They've only graded 9% of the cards sent to them as a pristine. But look at that, nearly double the sale price. These are all actual recent sales on my eBay that accumulated up to these total set prices. But anyways, yeah, I just wanted to show that outside of the scope of this Graded Edge test that I did, I also do regularly buy and sell. I buy and I send to BGS to grade. BGS, if these were black labels, I did not send any of these specific cards to BGS, but the numbers get really crazy if you can hit those BGS 10s. So there's ways to be even more profitable than what the numbers are that I'm showing you today. This is just like a little bit of a taste of what you can do. But continuing on, so I sent 85 to PSA and 61% graded 10s. Interestingly, I graded pretty much, like, it was very interesting to me how close to the norm I graded. Like, if you look at these 3 cards, 70% of the Entei's have gotten 10s, 63% and 63% for the Entei and for the Raikou and Suicune. I graded 61% out of my 100 cards. So out of my 100, so I bought 100 and I only sent 85. So whatever the math works out to on that, I graded a 61%. That was not 61 total in absolute terms. That was 61% of the 85 that I sent. So, whoa, that were like 50, approximately 50. Got that. And then great thing about Graded Edge too. If you can ship for 4, if you have to pay 6 to ship, you can change it on the fly. And say you pay, say you do a 3% promo rate on eBay. Say you're trying to win sales on eBay, like that video I made before. If you're doing a 3% promo rate, you can change that. If you sell this card for 90 bucks with your 3% promo rate, you can change all that on the fly, and Graded Edge will do the math for you. Same things you can do in a spreadsheet, but just any card on demand, not having to manually scrape the things yourself. This is being scraped off eBay and everywhere else. But continuing on to what I was doing, 30% PSA 9s. So again, very, very close. I'm changing the 63 to 61. I'm changing the 31 to 30. And then that leaves 9% for, I got 9% 8s. Generally, I send more cards than I think most people do. Well, I say that, but as I say that, I'm like spot on with what the overall. So I guess to what actually people send to PSA, I'm spot on with what people are doing. But I know some people in my Discord, some people in my Patreon, it feels like they're pre-grading black labels and then they're sending only those to PSA. That's why I'm going to make that video for next week on how I pre-grade. And absolutely, if I were more cautious, if I sent a few less cards, my profitability would have been higher. But to demonstrate a point, I mean, believe me or don't believe me here, but to demonstrate a point, I actually tried to force myself to send ones that I wouldn't have normally sent. Generally speaking, historically, my 10 rate is closer to 70, 75% on cards such as these, and my 9 rate is closer to 20, 25%. And then my 8 rate is less than 5%. Sometimes you just get a bad grader on a bad day, whatever it may be. But I do get some 8s historically, but 9% was the most I've gotten in quite some time on a submission of cards with 10 rates as high as these. But yeah, those adjustments I've made, average profit of only $5.88 a card. I do play with the ad rates. I do pay to win some sales on eBay. These aren't the exact prices that I sold them for on average. But yeah, that's the data for you. That's the data. That's how it works. That's how Graded Edge presents it. One thing that I actually, right before I recorded this video, I went into the Discord, and this is something that I did in my manual sheet. So I took all the numbers, all the same numbers from Suicune V, and I put them in here, but I normalized them. I adjusted them to account for the fact that I sold 15% off. I bought them raw with intent to grade. They failed my pre-grade check, and I'm selling them raw. That is not accounted for in these numbers. So in these numbers, $5.88 a card profit. So that means I bought 85 to grade. I made $5.88 on each one that I graded. And yes, most of these are sold. If you check my eBay, I think I'm entirely sold out of all the 10s. I think I have only a couple 9s left. So almost all the cards from this experiment are already sold. I only got them back in hand a couple weeks ago. And within 2 weeks, the sell-through rate on these cards is significant enough. One thing too that I want to show, I did show you a minute ago, I showed you the fact that this shows the liquidity. It shows how many are sold. I don't think this covers buy it nows. I think that covers auctions only, because I sold in the past 7 to 14 days, I sold more than 10 of this. I believe I had over 10 Suicune PSA 10. So yeah, I think that is showing only auction, but no data compiler will be perfect. It will not capture everything, but it captures enough to get a representative sample. But anyways, continuing on with that point I was trying to make, my math, and hopefully Graded Edge will have this in the future. Maybe it will have this by the time that you sign up, if you decide to sign up for the Patreon and go for it. But so it makes the math worse. It makes the math worse having having it to where you are buying 100 and only grading 85. And again, mind you, like, this is the Suicune only. The profitability was slightly different on the Entei, and the profitability was the best on the Raikou. Sorry, the Entei, and it was different on the Raikou. But yeah, so we're showing here on the Suicune with our adjusted numbers, we're showing a $5.88 profit. And a lot of these were graded on the $13 special as well. But anyways, I think I did these so they were all the same. Let me verify. So PSA 10 is 79.64, 32.15, 20.38, and then the rates are there. Yes. So the reason, so yeah, let me go in. I was wondering why the numbers were slightly off, but let me adjust these as I had them, and then it should make the number closer. But yeah, I adjusted, so 61% 10 rate. But I adjusted that to account for the fact that I actually cast some aside before grading, and what that amounted to was a 15% non-grade rate. Sell it back near mint. Every one you sell back near mint on the market, you lose 761. The 8s are very punishing. The 8s, you actually lose $22 a pop. The 9s, you lose $12 a pop. And the 10s, you gain $30 a piece. So I'm going to pause really quickly. Yeah, sorry, I just paused. I posted it in the Graded Edge Discord. I think there's a slight miscalculation error somewhere in the math on Graded Edge. But if you run through it, pull out your calculators. I verified it myself a couple times. 79.64 times 1 minus 12.8%, which would be the 87.2% that you would net, minus the grading cost, minus the shipping cost, minus the raw card cost. This is showing 25.46 when it's actually 28.07. So sorry for that little mistake. Something must have gotten jumbled in the update in the math, but Graded Edge should have that fixed by the time this video goes live. Continuing on, unless I'm just Dan late brain after midnight now that I'm recording, maybe I did a little oopsie. But anyways, what this amounts to is an $8.20 per profit of every one that I bought. This is just for this week, and I extended it across to all of them though. On average, I made about $8 a card. I bought 100 of them. I made $800. If you go back to my video, how to make 100 grand a year, I had all this stuff. How much time does it take you to source one? How much time does it take you to condition it, grade it, all that stuff? All that stuff I did in that video. To me, again, these cards were not onesie twosies. These cards were stock photo, multi-quantity buy it now. I would go to column D and E. Again, this is one of the Patreon resources that you would have from that video that I talked about before. And an hourly profit rate on making only $8.20 per card, approximately $117 an hour, approximately $234,000 per year. If you want to know how I got to that number at length more, go watch. It's the second most viewed channel on my video. It's nearing 10,000 views at this point. How do you make $100,000 a year? Literally just break down the steps. So many people don't break down the steps towards what goes into buying, grading, selling a card, and how many minutes that takes them. Multiply it out across how many of those you can do in an hour. But yeah, I did say I talked about the famed Celebrations Charizard, the one that is what do I call it? This play is public domain. This play cannot be stolen from anyone. This play was made by no one. This play is the public domain play that is open to everyone. And the average profit works out to $35 a card. Back when I made that video, back when I did the deep dive in Patreon, I believe it was September of 2023, I did a deep dive in Patreon. And I said I bought 100 Celebrations Charizards. And I made $3,500. Literally, like what I graded, what turned into 10s, 9s, 8s, all that whole thing. Not even accounting for pristines at CGC, not even accounting for trying different things, optimizing in different ways. But yeah, those are the numbers. Those are the actual numbers on a little experiment that I did. And I was going to show I was thinking about showing the whole thing. I don't even know what it worked out to, but I put about 30 grand into raw cards. Bulb Mew was one that I told you, a lot of the different Celebrations collection cards. And once I'm done recording this video tonight, before I go to bed, before this video goes live tomorrow, or I guess later today, I'm going to spend 5 to 10 grand more on TCG Player. Yes, I will have bought more of the Suicunes, Entei, Raikus. Note, prices change over time. If you buy them with a certain margin on screen, that's not guaranteed to hold. One thing we're all doing together, if we're using Graded Edge together, if we're all buying the same raws, the more raws you buy, the more you drive the price up. The more graded you sell, the more you drive the price down. So one risk there exists is market movements, and one thing that I benefited from heavily, just by pure chance, by dumb luck. Bubble Mew, 151 Charizard. Some of the other plays that I were making. Less so these ones. These ones didn't really pop in raw or in graded. But I graded a couple CGC 9 Bubble Mews. I graded a couple PSA 9 Bubble Mews that I sold for a significant premium. On paper, on Graded Edge, it showed that I would have lost 10, 20 bucks a card grading a 9 and selling it as a 9. The market moved up. The market can move down though too. I probably turned 30 grand into 50 grand when it really only should have been turned into 35 to 40 grand based on the average margin, based on the average ROI percentage. Like a lot of the ROI percentages, Charizard 38%. If you have not bought a Celebrations Charizard recently, and I've read people. So again, I just told you. I told you in the past, I bought 100 Celebrations Charizard. I graded approximately 75% of them. I bought 100 Legendary Beast Trios. Let me know in the comments. If you're this deep, if you've watched for 20 minutes, are they legendary dogs? Are they legendary cats? Or are they legendary beasts? I believe they're actually per lore legendary beasts. That's the only right answer. But let me know, dogs, cats, or beasts. I'm going to be wrapping up relatively soon. But I bought 100 of these trios and I graded 85. And I made on average, again, the math is off a little bit here, but I made on average $8.20 per card. And those cards were relatively flat. Let me quickly, just for full coverage. Let me go to TCG Player and look at like what Suicune and them did. And in some cards, I went more uphill battle than I normally do. A lot of times I go towards the easier graded cards. I don't really try to fight an uphill battle grading a card that has a 20% 10 rate, 15% 10 rate. But yeah, look at the 3-month on this card. So the 3-month on this card, I'm going to have to move a little bit. The 3-month on this card is pretty flat. Like I didn't get super lucky in that when it started it was 2012, when it ended it was 2057. But there were some other cards. Again, I'm not going to tell you the whole list, but the Bubble Mew. Oh, I typed in Bubble Mew to TCG Player. It doesn't know what I'm talking about. Come on, TCG Player. You got to get with the slang. You got to put all of our nicknames for the cards in there. But the Bubble Mew, look what happened here. Like I could have literally done anything with the Bubble Mew. I could have graded all PSA 8s and I would have still made stupid amounts of money. Because the card went from 94 raw. That's about what I was buying them at, because about 3 months ago is when I started. And now they're 180. They doubled raw. So if you literally, if you double them, sorry, if you graded them for $15 a piece and you got all 7s, which are near mint cards, which is what TCG Player sells, and then you cracked them all out and sold them back into the market. PSA's turnaround time is like a forced holding period. When the market's doing this, it's great. When the market's going down 30%, 50%, that's where it's tougher. So disclaimer, all those things apply. All those market risks are at play. You can get all 8s if you are a bad pre-grader or if you get a tough grader. But this was the data. This is for free. If you want to get more, if you want to see more of this, if you want more spreadsheets that I've built, if you want more access to previous deep dive conversations between myself and Jake and some of our guests that we do every quarter, feel free to dive into the Patreon. If not, this stuff's here for free. Some people get very salty about the whole paywall thing. It's like, there's a ton of stuff for free. I'm live on YouTube every week for free. I'm doing live streams every week on my own channel. I'm doing live streams every other week on PokeFlips. Come ask me any question. Ask me any question. A 10-year Pokemon reseller, a 20-year eBay reseller, someone who's done this full time for 3 years now, 3.5 years now. I do consign. Little bit more self-promotion at the end. If you want to sell your cards via auction on Fanatics, I will net you out up to 95% of the total sale price. Feel free to reach out. If you want to sell your stuff, maybe you don't want to wait a few weeks for your stuff to be auctioned. Fanatics does 10-day auctions, a couple days to get to my vault, a couple days to get listed, 10 days to run the auction, and then I pay out every Wednesday. I pay out with friends and family, ACH, Wire, Crypto, Zelle, all the good stuff. No government documents. If you're interested. And if you want to do any of that, let me know. If you want to sell, though, if you want to ship to my P.O. box, fully insured, as long as you put signature on it, I will buy your stuff. I will buy your sub $50 graded cards. I will buy your loose packs. I will buy your ETBs, your booster boxes, sealed cases preferably. If they're loose boxes, I will value them as loose packs generally because I sell them through Fanatics Live streams. But yeah, that I think that's my whole spiel. At that point, I'm generally buying sub $50 slabs, sub $30 singles for the live streams. And if you have not joined, one last little promo. If you have not joined Fanatics Live yet, if you have not gone and watched PK and Ponga stream yet, every night, one of them is live every night, and a free $45. Free meaning $5. So you spend $5, you pay $5 for the shipping, and you get $45 worth of stuff free. $25 affiliate link below for signing up, adding an address, adding a payment method because you need to pay the shipping. And then you use code KETCHUM20, and then you use your credit, the $25 credit. And if you are grading, if you're doing graded edge, if you're doing all these plays, you have a PSA membership. That additionally has a $60 code if you're the 150 tier. If you're the $200 tier PSA membership annually, you get a $120 code for Fanatics Live. So come check out Ponga and PK streaming every night. Come use those. And as always, I appreciate you all watching, and I will catch you all later.